So I have already harvested my parsley, and I just wanted to do a quick little video to show you how I clean it up and get it ready for the dehydrator. So I come in and put it in some ice cold water and let it set for a few seconds. And if you think your herbs are very clean just because they're in a pot or something, do not think that way. It still has plenty of dust and insects and microscopic insects that you cannot see. So I soak it in one bowl of water first. I don't dump the water out of the bucket because all the dirt and the debris is going to fall to the bottom. I simply pick it up and set it in the next sink drain right beside this one, so that all the dirt and stuff stays in the bowl. And I do this same method with all of my herbs, greens, whatever kind of stuff I'm cleaning. And then I will dump this water out, and you can see it is quite yucky. And then I will refill the bowl and start it all over again. But except the next time whenever I refill my bowl, I'm going to put the herbs back in. In this case, it's the parsley, and I'll show you that next step. So in this next step, I will add salt to the water. It helps to clean the herbs, and if there is any bugs in there, it will help to get rid of them. It will help them to expire, probably, and let go of the herb so that they won't be on your plants. And I will just simply set my herbs back into the water. And yes, my water for some reason has air in it whenever I turn my well on. We have troubleshot it every which and way. So it makes a lovely squish squish noise and jumps around sometimes. Quite fun when you're outside watering, when the water hose just takes off and everybody gets wet. So I will let this soak, run my fingers through it a little bit just to loosen up the parsley and hopefully get everything that's on it off of it. And this time I will let it soak about 5 minutes, and then I'll be right back. Alright, it's been the 5 minutes. Now I'm just simply going to pick up my parsley again out of the water and set it into a colander and let it drip for a few more minutes. And I will just leave it sitting here for a few minutes and let some of that excess water drip out. And I'll bring you right back for the next step. Alright, you could totally skip this part if you wanted to, but why in the world would you want to do that? If you have a salad spinner, it spins out all the excess water. It speeds up your dehydrating time dramatically. So just drop you some of your parsley in there. Don't overcrowd it because it's fun just to keep pulling the little string and drying out your herbs. Just takes a few seconds and it speeds up your drying time by hours. Let's make sure we got that on right. Probably give it about 5 or 6 good spins. Then I'll take the herbs out and show y'all how much water is in there. going to set them on a little tray right here on the side. And I don't know if y'all be able to see that or not, but there's a good bit of water in there that you wouldn't have probably been able to get out. You would have been waiting for a long time for your herbs to dry off. So this is a very helpful tool. If you have a salad spinner, it helps to dry off not just salad stuff, but your dried herbs and greens, all kind of stuff. So don't forget about all those kitchen tools that you have. And I'll be right back to show you the next step. Alright, now we are outside. We have our big bowl of celery. And this is a solar dehydrator inspired by my friend Hippie Chick Off-Grid in Maine. So you just simply load up your dehydrator. It has a zipper opening in the front. Very inexpensive at Amazon. I would probably definitely invest in a couple more. So you can just hang them outside in a sunny spot or on your porch and load them up. This one has 3 tiers. I probably definitely should have got a larger one, but I wanted to just give it a try first and see how I liked it. And the same thing with this, you don't want to overcrowd it. And I did want to mention that I left the stems on them. You chop them up too and add them to your parsley leaves for your seasoning, spices, garnish. Some people think that parsley has no vitamins, minerals, no health benefits whatsoever. They just think of it as a plant to garnish with. But parsley actually has a lot of medicinal values, a lot of nutrition. It's actually very good and very healthy, as is most stuff that is edible and green is. So you'll have to do a little research on that to see what you think about parsley. It actually is something that's very easy to grow. Some people would say, well, why grow it? It's so cheap and go through all that work. Well, why buy it? We need to start asking people, why not? If it's cheaper and easier and healthier, and you know, in order to have that frugal mindset, if you keep getting nickeled and dollared to death, then maybe that's why you're not quite so frugal. You want to become more frugal. You find ways to grow things and process things, such as this. Dehydrating parsley isn't going to cost me a dime. I've already bought the dehydrator. It was probably around $12, $15. It's going to pay for itself very, very quick. I've done use it to dehydrate several other herbs. It works wonderful. Now, since the stems are still on my parsley, I will have to dehydrate it a little bit longer, but that's okay because I like to add the stems as well to my spices. It helps to add bulk and adds more nutrition. So I will let these dehydrate probably for about maybe a day or two. If it was just the leaves, it would take a lot less time. But since the stems are on there, I'm thinking it's probably going to take closer to 2 days. But this is just a little handy. If you can't afford an expensive dehydrator, which I have both, I decided to go with this off-grid style dehydrator. People in other countries where they don't have electricity, they dehydrate fish and meats and vegetables and herbs, you name it. They use something like this that is very inexpensive. It has the net around it, keeps insects and dust and such out, and that's how they preserve and harvest and dehydrate some of their vegetables and their meats. So I was very inspired by my friend Laura Jean. Go check out her channel, Hippie Chick, Off-Grid in Maine. She is a wonderful, beautiful person inside and out. She has been taking a little bit of a break right now because it is homesteading season, garden season in full swing. It is just a busy time of year. A lot of us are not putting out as much content just due to the fact that this is the time of the year when we are extremely busy harvesting and putting up and putting back food in our pantry so that we can get through the winter. So thanks for joining me today. I'll come back later and show you what it looks like after it's processed and put into jars. This is just a quick little simple video. Go ahead and look up all the health benefits. There's way too many of them. You'll be quite surprised. So thanks to all of my subscribers. Thanks for stopping by and visiting. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Introduce yourself. I'm sure everyone will be happy and glad to meet you and join you to the homestead family. So I mentioned making the parsley flakes or parsley flour, and I do leave my stems on them. I do still end up cutting the leaves off of the stems, and then I just simply toss them in a Ziploc bag, and you could add these to stews or soups, and oftentimes I just add them to the herbal teas. And this is they're dehydrated, but they do not chop up as well in the little coffee grinder. So I don't use those in there so that it doesn't get twisted up in the little blade in the little chopper. But I don't throw them out. I still use them to have lots of good flavor and lots of good benefits. It's great if you add it to like a beef stew or something like that, or a soup. And I will just save them. If I don't use them right away or within a week or so, I will just put them in the freezer and label them so that I remember what kind of stems these are, so I don't get them confused with other herbs that's stored away. And this is, and I almost didn't think about it quick enough, but this is the parsley flakes. You could go even further and make it into a powder. But I almost forgot and done all of it. And you see, that was a lot of parsley out there in the dehydrator, but then it's not going to give you a whole lot. This will probably make about 2 containers full of parsley, like if it was in a spice jar, but I just put it in jelly jars and fill up my spice jar and then vacuum seal this. And I just have, I just have a little bit left in my little coffee grinder to finish processing. So I just thought I'd go ahead and jump in here for a minute and let you see the tail end of it. It's going to be a little bit noisy. I do stop it, turn it upside down, shake it down a little bit, because sometimes the leaves get in the side of it, and then I have to restart it just to make sure it's all grinded up. I usually leave mine a little more coarse than just simply a powder. And as you can tell, this was full. This little top was full. Now it's just some powder in the bottom. Turn it upside down, give it a good shake. And this is what you end up with. And now this little coffee grinder here, you can only fill it like to the halfway mark. but it does a good job. It does take longer. This is how I do most of my dried spices, herbs. Recently just completed 2 jelly jars of the green onions and made green onion powder. Now this is celery. You could add salt and pepper and different spices and seasons. I just keep it 100% natural and just use it like that. So just want to show y'all that real quick. It does take a little time. I guess you could get a larger coffee grinder, but this is what we have. This is what we use, and it works. You just have to be a little patient, and before you know it, you'll have plenty of spices. You just have to go through the process to dehydrate it, and then use you with some kind of little coffee grinder or something. I find does the best. I've bought different types of grinders through the years, but the little coffee grinder does the absolute best. As y'all know, I am not affiliated with anyone, but I will bring it closer so y'all can see it. It is really tiny. You can get larger ones. But this is what I've been using for a while now, and it seems to work just fine. It does not do a lot at a time, but it will do the job for you. It does work great on coffee beans, and it works great on all different types of herbs and berries that's dehydrated. So I do have a manual type. If we were not to have electricity, we would use that, but since we do, that's why we invested in a small one for the time being, just so we could have something to make life just a little bit easier with. So that's all for the dehydrating the parsley leaves. And I'm sorry, I have gotten so confused because I use carrot tops as parsley. So sometimes I say something totally different, like I forgot what it was that I said now, but this is parsley, and sometimes I say celery because I use the celery dehydrated and the carrot tops dehydrated all look and taste similar to the parsley leaves when you dehydrate them. So be sure to label your jars really good. If you don't have a good sniffer, of course you could smell it and you would know that this is parsley and one was celery and one was carrot tops. But either way, it's a great way to make your own spices right at home, and you can save money. So farewell, homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.